Let us start with what you have in your bag, in your hands, or in your pocket, or in your pouch, wherever. The first request, or one of the first requests were, please put or switch your cell phones to silent or perhaps not off. So my request now is, please take your phone out. If you haven't switched it off, at least switch it to flight mode, please. So let us go through it quickly. I'm sure you can do it very quickly. On your settings, go to flight mode and make sure that if it's not off, put it at least on flight mode, please, because there's a specific reason attached to that. And we will go through that, and I invite you to please join me on this journey where I can only focus on the highlights, and you need to focus and concentrate together with me so that we can all together find the end result and make the wise choices, perhaps, or let us see. So what do I have in my hand on this side? It's an Electrosmog meter. So what is an Electrosmog meter? So just showing you here, this is what we will end as well. So what is Electrosmog? Is that something that you know of? Can you see it? The air that we breathe and the clean air, or the ugly polluted air, we can see it. But in electrosmog environments, you can't see it. So the plastic bags in your environment or in the ocean, you can see it, you can do something about it. But what about electrosmog? What about electro-pollution? What is it? This is each and every aspect of our connections are based on radiation. Radio wave radiation, one of the environments on the electromagnetic spectrum. But 2G, 3G, 4G, that was all kind of the introductions. Wow, it's so great. And I'm not saying that technology is not great. It's creating for us a lot of opportunities, as already pointed out. But we need to find the balance, and that's part of our challenges. So now, with going or experiencing the fourth industrial revolution, and all the wow, wow, wow about 5G, is it really what we need to add more and more electrosmog in our environments, and not realizing what is happening under our eyes, our noses, our ears, our human beings, not realizing what is the impact of that. This is most probably one of the pictures that you will see in many homes. So this little baby, yes, he or she is wondering whether she has been conceived or downloaded. But I think it's not only that. If that little baby could speak, she most probably would like to say, please, mommy and papi, or daddy, please engage with me. Make eye contact. I'm alive. I'm a human being. I'm not the technology. I'm not. I want your eyes. I want to smile. I want to laugh with you. Please engage with me. Don't put a screen in front when you need to engage with me, when I am alive. So let us be careful about what we are hoping for, because the more that we get the fake internet connections that's helping us, the more we will be challenged with what's happening. What happened on the 6th of February 2019 this year? In the US Senate, Senator Blumenthal asked the representatives of the technology industries, are there any research showing that 5G is safe for human beings? And what was the answer? No. Nothing. No research already being done. No research on the cards to help us going forward. So he was then saying, okay, we may achieve being the first nation to roll out 5G with all the pros and cons. We are flying blind here on health and safety for humans. Is that the way that we must keep on embracing going forward without enough critical evaluation, if we know what is happening? So I am only focusing on a few highlights, a few things on this journey, and I trust you are still with me so that we can go through it and see where we come. That's another picture. Wonderful. Is it wonderful? What do we do if we know about electrosmog? What do we do when we know how a baby should develop naturally as a human being? Experience his or her world through all their senses. What makes them human is not a flat screen or a touch screen or moving his or her hands. That is not the way that they must develop. So at the end, remember, each and every time you're giving a screen in a child's hand, you are actually giving him a drug. He can become addicted within less than 6 months, and you are actually limiting his development and his learning potential. So we should be very careful, not even to talk about the additional radiation that we are putting in the environment on a small little baby. And that is one of Dr. Deborah Davis' experiments, where she and her colleagues were actually doing research and showing what's happening with 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds, and the absorption of the heat when you put your cell phone against your ear. What happened in March this year? In California, on a pre-primary school ground where a cell phone tower was based, when the 4th child was diagnosed in 3 years with cancer, the parents got up in arms and said, our children will not go to this school any longer until such a time that that cell phone tower will be removed. What happened within the next month? The cell phone tower was removed. So we must realize it's not only what you can see, it's not only the direct heat, there's a lot of electrosmog around us, in this room. In the beginning I measured. Let us see how's it going. What's the next? Digital dementia. Is that something that you look forward to? Most probably not. Because Dr. Manfred Spitzer already showed this and described this condition in 2012, where he saw what's happening with the brains and minds of people. When they think they are smart, but actually because of the overuse of technology and the overstimulation of certain parts of your brain, some parts are overdeveloping and others are underdeveloping. So at the end of the day, you're not a healthy human being. So then you start forgetting things. If you don't use your brain, you lose the capacity of that brain. It's similar to your muscles. So if children are not using their brains with mental effort, and we including, not using our brains, but we are happy to Google all the stuff, what's happening with our brains? You get more forgetful. And interestingly, 2 days ago I was listening to a radio interview where the guy was talking to one of the futurists. And what did he say? He was so excited about another technology that could actually link more things in his home to talk to each other, like the Internet of Things, because that's part of 5G and smart meters and smart cars. So he was really very excited about Amazon Sidewalk, for instance, because he said that will help him a lot so that he would remember where he put down his keys, where he put down his pouch, so that his wife doesn't need to help him seeking for it. Great stuff from a futurist that's not realizing what's happening with his brain and body. When we embrace maybe too much, at some point in time we may need to make other choices. What about electro-hypersensitivity? More and more people are now looking at each other and saying, I'm getting dumb and numb. My brain is being wiped. I don't know what's going on. I get tingles in my body. My hands and my feet is getting dumb and numb. Yes, I also spoke to a TEDx speaker, former TEDx speaker, confirming that he's from Cape Town. He needs to stay in the bush. He needs to do certain steps to limit and minimize the exposure in his environment. And people will react differently to different exposure levels. Some people, I met a lady who is more sensitive to Wi-Fi radiation, for instance. He's more sensitive to 4G. So there's different ways of focusing on electro-hypersensitive people. Already in 2015, the World Health Organization acknowledged something like that, realizing that's happening with people more and more. The more rain and showers we get, the more the risks we take. So techno-life balance, that's a specific program, system that I've developed and said, yes, we like technology. I grew up with technology. It's helping all of us everywhere. It's great stuff. But how are we going to make sure that we don't achieve work-life balance? I'm talking about techno-life balance. Because technology is now all over. 24 hours a day. You can play, you can work, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. You can be linked with whoever you want. So great stuff. But the choices that you are making to ensure that you will still live your purpose, you will still have good relationships, you will manage your stress levels so that you don't get depressed and anxious. Technology is still there in its place. But how are we going to make sure that we are really managing it and not being the slave of it or addicted to it? Because it's just like that. 4 years ago it was, you're out of this world, you don't know what you're talking about. Technology addiction? Is there something like that? I don't think we have a debate anymore. It is real. So let us rather be proactive, make the wise choices going forward, be informed, and not embrace everything that anybody or everybody is telling you, but be informed and make the wise choices. So what about techno-life hacks around limiting your radiation exposure, for instance? Most probably, and what I'm aware of, that my body has also an increased level of radiation exposure. So what do I do to limit it? That's why I've asked you, put your phone or switch it off to flight mode. Ideally, put it off. But at least it's limiting the signals going out and seeking all the time for Wi-Fi or for a cell phone tower. So those are the kind of things that you can manage better. When you work, are you working with a cable in your laptop, or are you working on Wi-Fi? It's a little bit more of a slip, but if you know about the risks, because we don't know where our thresholds are. It's like being sensitive to food. It's accumulative. So at some point in time, your body may just say, I had enough. I can't cope with it anymore. The changes that's already in my body, I am falling over. I can perhaps detox, I can perhaps do this or that, but be careful. So I would like to invite you. I've highlighted our journey highlights, but where are we now? We are at a human technology tipping point. We cannot afford to just go with the flow. just saying, please come more, shower us more with all the 5Gs of this world, more Wi-Fi, more antennas, more everything. If we know that there was already a 5G crisis summit, we know about Senator Blumenthal, we know what's the impact of the overexposure of low frequencies and even extra low frequencies. Biologically, there's huge changes in our bodies. We can't perhaps also see it, but we can measure it. So, if we measure it now, the levels are lower than it was when I was measuring it at the beginning of it. So this is the Electrosmog meter. Don't underestimate, perhaps you need someone in your Electrosmog meter in your environment. And maybe the next biggest thing is to put your cell phone away. Not another app, not another screen time saver or whatever. Rather, if you can't manage it properly, put it in a bag to create a world of well-being. And if need to be, you can even lock it away so that you are not confusing and using it when you are not supposed to do it. So I hope and trust that all of you will join me on this exciting journey. But let us be balanced and find the balance and make wise choices. Thank you.